In the course of investment and financial market, I did my first trading exercise. So in this video, I will explain you my approach through three important points. The first one is my strategy, then my operations, and finally my results. Concerning my strategy, the first important aspect to take in account is the length of time allotted to this exercise. Knowing that we have less than 15 days to get the best performance possible, I need to adjust my strategy in the short term. The risk is greater, but the possibility of yield is also higher. I'm using the scalping method. It is a trading technique that involves buying and selling financial products in very short periods of time. The return on investment on each position is small. It's why it is necessary to multiply the number of operations to maximize my performance. For this method, I decided to be really invested during 7 days and to spend the more possible time on this activity. It is recommended to speculate in the short term only on the most popular securities. In fact, the more traders are speculating, the more responsive and volatile the stock will be. So I chose an important stock indicator, the CAC 40, to choose which company to buy. It represents the trend of the large capitalization of the French economy. The short-term trading requires to daily follow economic news, such a merger of society, the release of a new project or innovation, or a change of direction are indeed as much fundamental data that influence the price of the share over short periods of time. After thinking of the best strategy possible, the first question that came in my mind was where speculating, which kind of companies are the best choices to trade in the short term. So to answer to this question, first I did a global analysis among the list of 40 companies in the CAC 40. I have been more interested in cyclical than defensive companies, companies such as L'Oréal, LVMH, Carrefour and Danone, which depend little on the economic conjuncture, have little risk, but the hope of high gain is not very important. Acting in the short time, I prefer to focus on companies with a cyclical value, which are more risky but have a higher likelihood of achieving high performance, such as the sector of cars. Then, I analyzed each company according to its current trend and the performance of the previous day, into its volatility. Higher the percentage is, the more the price of the stock varies, and the more I have the opportunity to buy my shares at a low price and to sell them at a high cost. Finally, I paid attention to the news, which is really important. Each information is likely to quickly change the price of a share. After thinking about the best strategy possible, I will show you now a few examples of my operation that I did through three main principal tools: the basic curve, the moving average, and the RSI. So in this first example, it represents the company Sanofi, which is a French multinational whose activities include pharmacy and vaccines. It is ranked the third in the health sector. So this graph brings to light a high volatility, allowing me to buy at the lowest and to resell at the highest. I have analyzed the way in which the security have behaved on the past according to the events of the company economic calendar. On the 24th, 30 minutes before the closing of the ABC Bourse sites, an announcement by the group was published. The results indicated that one of their medications significantly reduced the risk of severe asthma and improved respiratory function of patients. So this kind of announcements gives confidence to investors, so I deduced that the next day the price of the shares will increase. It's why I bought shares on the 24th at night while waiting for the price of the stock to drop to the maximum. On the 25th, I was very attentive to the rise of the stock value, and I decided to resell my shares around 11 a.m. The first graph is AXA. It is a French international group specializing in insurance since its creation and in the management of assets since 1994. The second graph is Publicis. It is today the third largest communication group in the world. So for AXA and also for Publicis, I used the graph with the basic curve to analyze the current trend. Over the last 4 days or 5 days, I observed a fairly similar curve trend every day. At the beginning of the day, the stock price is low, in the middle of the day it is high, and at the end of the day it is again weak. So I waited until the evening to buy these shares, and depending on the performance of the previous days, I sold them in the days when the curve forms a peak and starts to fall. For this kind of operation, I had to be very attentive because in just a few minutes, the course of the action can fall. I was particularly interested in the news because an advertisement can reserve the curve. The second tool that was really useful for me was the moving average. I used the moving average for companies whose stock prices are very variable and the trajectory of the curve is really difficult to anticipate. The moving average is an easy-to-use tool and a good indicator to know when to buy and to sell. So as you can see on the graph, the moving average corresponds to the average value of an asset over a defined period. The crossing of a moving average on the rise is a strong purchase signal. This signal is more or less strong depending on the moving average. And on the other hand, the downward fracture of a moving average is a more or less strong sales signal. So the 21st, when crossing the average, I bought stock. And I waited until the 22nd around 2 p.m. to resell my shares. So it was when the stock price intersects the moving average. The third indicator I used is the relative strength index. It's the RSI, which allows to determine the internal force of a value over time. The RSI, which highlights area of overpurchase and overselling, calculates the ratio between the average of the hausses and the average of the decreases over the days of the period considered. So I use the RSI to speculate at Peugeot. It measures the ratio of ascending and descending movements and is located on a range from 0 to 100. If the RSI is less than 30, it means that the market is overselling and that the price might eventually increase again. Conversely, if the RSI is more than 70, it means that the market is overbought and that the price is sensible to drop soon. That's why I waited for the price to drop to at least 30 to buy stock at Peugeot. On 24th at 1 p.m. I bought, then I waited until the course climbs up to at least 70. And only the next day, I sold my shares at 9 and the RSI was at 70. I made, thanks to this operation, a big margin. Now it's time to show you my results. So to follow the scalping method, I tried to be really active and I made operation on 19 companies which are part from different sectors. So thanks to my strategy, and as you can see, I have positive results, but the margin is not high. It's only 77 euros. I was really happy with my result the day 5. I had an excedent of 1,046 euros, but the problem is that I wanted to wait for some shares because I thought it would increase. It is a big error because with the company NG, I lost 550 euros and with Air Liquide, I lost 3,000 euros. To conclude this exercise, I sell all my shares, but I lose lots of money. If I will have wait for a few days, I think the price of the shares will have increased and I wouldn't have lost money. So for this part, I'm a bit disappointed because I had good results at the beginning of my exercise and at the end I lost lots of money. But on the second graph, it's a more positive result because compared to the performance of the CAC 40 for the last day, I'm satisfied. I did better than the other traders. As you can see, the red line is declined and my shares are increased, and the blue line is increased. So it's a positive result. So to conclude, I would like to speak a bit about how I would have improved. So I tried to connect on the ABC Bourse platform as many times as possible, but as we had other courses and exams, it was difficult to be really invested. I could have had a better yield if I would have traded all the day without break. I missed good opportunities of sales. And finally, what do I learn? It was my first trading exercise. I found it really interesting. I discovered how to use a trade platform, the tools to perform, and the importance of having a good strategy. Indeed, with a good understanding of our strategy, we can succeed. I think the experience is also necessary to understand better the different markets.